Islam family, how y'all doing? Welcome to another edition of Moorish World TV. I got a guest here tonight, and as y'all can see, I'm a little calm, and it's a little reason for that. But I want to share some things with y'all. So first, I want my guest to come in, introduce himself, and give his portion of thanks to our Creator Allah and honor to our Prophet. So I let him come in and introduce himself, tell you where he's from, and set that off real quick. Brother, are you there? Islam family. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. So brother, the floor is yours for a second.
Islam. Of course, my name is Sheik Seven Islam. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. Sheik Branch Temple number 5 here in Charlotte. Just want to come and drop some measures basically on knowing thyself, because it seems as though, you know, especially in a conscious community, being that we're talking about being conscious, knowing that we starting to deal with a mental aspect of observing a certain thing. Being that we conscious, I think a lot of people on many levels have forgotten the pure essence of themselves. So tonight we're going to dig into knowing thyself and getting into what truly man is. Islam.
And with that being said, I got another brother coming in. But let's do this, family. I want y'all to rock with me real quick. I want everybody for a second. You know, this week been an up and down week for what y'all may say. The Moorish American community, the Moorish world. This channel is called Moorish World TV because I set out, and hopefully those who come on this channel are setting out to build a world for Moors and all those who wish to enjoy the world of the Moors. Just as we can go to China and enjoy the world of the Chinese. We can go to Russia and enjoy the world of Russia. We can go to Kenya and enjoy the world of Kenyans. But this channel here is dedicated to inspire and excite people to get involved into the Moorish Science Temple of America paradigm, the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and help to excite or help to contribute to build our Moorish world. So as you've seen all the back and forth earlier this week, and we go back and forth sometimes. With that, let me let my brother introduce himself. He just came in the chat also before I carry on. Brother Cyrus, are you there? Cyrus Hill?
Islam.
Brother, I want you to bring yourself in the chat real quick. Introduce yourself. Let the people know you is, and then I just want to give a brief introduction, intro as to, so I can set the tone where we're going to go with this. Islam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First, I rise and give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give honors to the Holy and Divine Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Give honors to, I want to give a special honor tonight to our brother, we are dearly departed, Brother Al Hopkins Bey. For those that don't know, he's a brother of Brother A. Hopkins Bey, and the son of the past Grand Sheik of Temple number 11, Brother Al Hopkins Bey Sr., who made it, and he's also a member of Ali's Men. He made his transition tonight. With that, I greet the Moors in Islam to my brother Sheik Seven, and
Islam,
Brother Talker Bey. Islam, and to the Moorish world listeners, Islam.
So as I was saying, you know, we heard the back and forth. It ain't no secret with our good brother Rimion El, our good brother Ali Bey, our good brother Way Ill, you know, and it gets like that sometimes. We go back and forth. We have difference of opinion, but you know, when it's all said and done, the title of the show today is, are you God? Are you human? Who and what are you? Know thyself. When it's all said and done, who are we for real? And to connect with my brother Cyrus Hill, just said about our brother R. Hopkins Bey, who transitioned from this physical world, we must understand who we are. I know that that family is a strong spiritual family and are well grounded in the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. It's not just an organization predicated upon being friends and being vibrant as it relates to becoming a Moorish American. From one day you're good and the next day you're not. I know for that family, it's a way of life for them. You know, and so I know that Allah has embraced and has wrapped his love around them. And now, don't get all spaced out. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about the spiritual comfort of when you lose your loved one. You know, so I want to take a second. I want to take a second, family, and I'm serious, man. We can go back and forth. I can yell. I can turn up all I want to. Y'all can laugh at the little jokes I make. Y'all can look at it and say, what are they doing? And make you cringe. We can talk about the Mason. We can talk about the... But today, we got to take a moment of silence for a true and tried Moorish American. And that's what we're going to do right now. I want everybody, for a second, please think about what your life is. And think about what your life can be. Think about how you are going to be talked about when your time comes to transition to the next level. So family, for a second, I want y'all, we're going to take a minute for a moment of silence for our good brother, R. Hopkins Bey, and the Hopkins Bey family, Temple number 11, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you're at your computer, just stop and meditate, contemplate that frame for a minute. Peace, family. Take a second. Islam family, the time is now 8:27, and we were just having a moment of silence for our brother and our family out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Hopkins Bey family. Send your love thought to the sister S. Hopkins Bey and all of the Hopkins Bey family. Marvelous things for this Moorish world. And we must show them support in thought in any way possible that we can support. Islam. All praise be to Allah. We're going to turn up and we're going to talk about know thyself. So the chapter of tonight, what we're talking about is know thyself. Who are you truly? Now, we know that in the Moorish Science Temple of America, one of the things that attract us to Moorish Science is we begin to understand, most of us, is that I can't be black. The person who introduced me to more science, the first thing that they said to me, why you keep calling yourself the N-word? Heard me rapping, and I was saying, why you keep, he said, you know you're not that, and the brother gave me a paper, and it was like, when the prophet asked, what shall we call him? He said, take that and read that. Matter of fact, young blood, that's what he said to me. Matter of fact, young blood, why don't you see if you can make a rap out of it? He told me, I read it, and to this day, I still never made the song, but I never left the Moorish Science Temple of America because I asked them for more information. I never wrote that song. You know what I mean? Shout out to Derek Robinson Hill. Never wrote the song, but I never left the Moorish Science Temple of America. So that's what introduced me. But we come to find out when we get into our lessons of the Moorish Science Temple of America, there's actually more to us than the black degree, the Negro, the colored, and the Ethiopian. That's basically the first layer. But there's some more layers. Brother Sheik 7, let's go and start up on the chapter, brother. On the chapter, brother, what you have to say about know thyself? Who are we? What are we, my brother? Oh, I got you. You unmute your mic. You muted. I got you muted? Yeah, you have to unmute yourself. Go.
Islam.
So yeah, brother, who and what are we, brother? I want you to go in, brother, because obviously, you know, we begin to talk about earlier this week that I'm a Mason, I'm a Moor. Is that the deepest we can go? That I'm a Mason, I'm a Moor, I'm a European, I'm an Asiatic, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Hebrew, brother. Who and what are we, my brother?
First and foremost, I want to rise giving all thanks and praise to Almighty God, Allah, the great God and Father of the universe, the author and governor of the world, causes and rootless root from which all things grow. We'd like to extend the highest honors to his holy and divinely ordained prophet, Noble Jew Ali, and we'd like to stand honest to everything Moorish up under the sun. Now, with that being said, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, Holy Quran, we are taught in the first chapter, Creation of Fallen Man, that man is not the body nor the soul. So therefore, you know, that statement within itself shows us that we can go a lot deeper than just acknowledging the fact that we're not Negro, black, or colored, which, you know, on a secular level would explain our physical makeup. So with that being said, we have to understand first and foremost, what is man? Well, we understand that it's a spirit, and we understand that it's immaterial, it's eternal, and it's not part of the body. So therefore, it's free, it's accountable for its own actions. So therefore, we understand that this is a consciousness. This is a consciousness. So therefore, you know, man being mind is a consciousness. And everything that we're experiencing right now is a reflex of such. That's my draw.
Islam, brother Thyself, you want to add on? The brother said that this is a consciousness, and I follow you up, my brother, and I'm gonna crack the seal.
Islam. I definitely would like to add to that. You know, that's a very special chapter. I'd like to jump. I'm gonna jump if I can. I don't want to. I'm gonna actually follow the lead of our brother Thyself, brother Sheik 7. I don't want to jump ahead of him. So there's a part in that chapter that I'd like to touch on, but I don't want to jump the gun. So for now, I'm going to wait. I would say that in chapter 3, though, in the Moorish Holy Quran, it tells us that we should, let me go to the verse. It talks about studying self, which is a part of, when you think of the term, know thyself, It means to get familiar with yourselves on all the different levels. And I'm going to go to instruction number 14 on page 7, which says, if you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves. And you have well studied them, and then would ask me what to study next, I will reply, yourselves. He who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that pass away. And he who knows his highest self knows Allah, knows well the things that cannot pass away. And with that, I'm gonna humbly, I want to let my brother utilize the platform. So I'm gonna support supporting cast. I'm gonna wait before I go into the chapter. I want him to be able to introduce it properly. Islam.
Brother Seven. You want to add on before I
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The beautiful thing about that about the brother Cyrus Hill quoting that instruction is that in that key we understand and should pay attention to the fact of the term, the language used in that key, which is yourselves, which was spoken of in a plural sense. So when we understand that we're speaking of in a plural sense, we have to identify with what selves are we speaking of, and then we know that we're talking about the two selves, which is the higher self and the lower self. Islam.
That's right.
Islam. So I'm going to touch on. I want to do this. I want to direct your attention to two things, and I'm gonna ride off what my brother just said. Family, listen good and listen clear. And we're going to turn it up. Because I always say, I'm going to turn it up. And when I say I'm going to turn it up, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Now,
Islam.
Family, we need to know that we are bigger than this. We need to know that we are greater than this. See, because what just happened to our brother, Hopkins Bay, will happen to you one day. You know about the Moorish American, by the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we understand that man is not the body nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. And so as we go into our book, our pamphlet, our Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, my brother Cyrus Hill, he was just reading from chapter 3. Let me direct your attention to chapter 3 real quick. And I want to just go over what my brother just said. My brother just said, and I'm going to go to the page for you. So I'm going to screenshot it for you. My brother just said, and I'm going to repeat exactly what the brother said. Actually, he said right here, chapter 3, right here, verse 15. Now follow me, fam. Let me see if I can highlight this a little bit. Can I highlight? Let me see. Now you can follow me. Y'all good. Verse 15. Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. 3. Hold up. Chapter 3, verse 15. It says, he who knows of his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows of the things that pass away. He who knows of his higher self knows the law, knows the things that cannot pass away. I'm going to direct your attention to the Holy Quran of Muhammad, the Holy Quran of Mecca, Surah 50, verse 16. It said, he who created man, it was we who created man, and we know the dark suggestions in his soul, higher and lower self, makes him. For we are nearer than his jugular vein. Why did I just quote that? Why did I just quote that? Because what I just read to you, it says that Allah, God, is closer to you in your jugular vein in the Holy Quran of Mecca. That's what it says. And it says, he who knows of his higher self knows Allah. So where is this Allah? Where is this Allah? Where is this Allah, family? Ask yourself. If Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali also teaches us that the nearest place to meet Allah is in the heart. And he who knows of his higher self knows Allah. Where is this Allah? Take it away, brother Seven. Take it away, brother. Let's talk about this law that is closer to us than our jugular vein. And our questionnaire is asking us, where's the nearest place to meet him? Talking about the law is in the heart. Right here, it says, he who knows his higher self know a law. Where is the law? Talk to me, Seven.
Where's the law?
People, brother.
Where is the law? First and foremost.
Who is this? Who are we, brother?
First and foremost, we'll go to the Moorish Holy Quran to the pardon me.
That's chapter 35, brother. I know I know where you're going already. Which is found on page
pardon me, bro.
42. Page 42.
42, yes. Okay. You talking about religion?
No, first and foremost, our brother Justice said in the Moorish Holy Quran that Allah, paraphrasing, that Allah is everywhere. Number one.
That's right.
So when we understand that, we're starting dealing with observing the omnipotence of Allah displayed before us. And when we in omnipotence being the power, the infinite power of Allah, we see it expressed in every fabric of the universe. Meaning I can go outside and acknowledge Allah and see the workings of Allah on a blade of grass as it grows and grows upward toward perfection. So therefore, when we talking about Allah, when we're talking about Allah, us Moorish American Muslims, we're not talking about a spook in the sky. Because I myself, speaking of myself, Seven Sheik Seven Islam, you know, I'm against the mystery God in all type of ways. So with that being said, this God, this Allah that we're speaking of, also is spoken about in the creation of fallen man as the husbandman which threw forth this seed into the plane of soul. See, this seed being the spirit man, being one and part of Allah, holding deep within itself all the potencies and attributes of Allah. Also, this was thrown into the plane of soul. Now we know, per the Moorish Holy Quran, that the soul resides in the brain. The soul resides in the brain. And the spirit man resides within the soul, which is a guard that covers the spirit man. So therefore, now we get into the investigating the heart of man and the heart of Allah. So now we starting to deal with going to an esoteric level. We start going to, you know, that three-step ladder extending from the heart of man to the heart of Allah. So therefore, this Allah that we're speaking of is deep within the heart of man. Now, what heart are we speaking about, though? So we have this morsel of flesh that's within our chest, in which a lot of people have equated to that heart in which the scriptures are speaking about. But we understand this heart that we mean, that is spoken of to be symbolic of the core or the center of one's being. And this heart of Allah extending from here to here. So therefore, we don't acknowledge a mystery God. This Allah that we speak about is everywhere, but within ourselves, because we know that the will of man makes possible the action of the holy breath. Islam?
Islam, my brother Cyrus, you want to add on before I add on, my brother? Because
Islam, pardon me, I'm struggling with my mute button there a little bit.
Good, brother. Yes,
sir. I concur with brother Sheik Seven actually already stated. You know, it says that Allah is the Father of the universe, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. And key word is incomprehensible. So there are aspects of Allah that from the plane, you know, when you understand the structure of the three different planes, the plane of manifest versus the plane of soul, and the plane of spirit, there are things that are unknowable from the plane of manifest. But if I could, one of the things that I'd like to touch on, and this also speaks about the law as well, in his essence, and this is actually drawn from chapter 36, which is entitled which is the chapter that we're featuring this evening. It's entitled "The Holy Instructions from the Prophet." Know thyself. When you go down to instruction number 6, I'm gonna read 5 and 6. In this chapter in general, we're gonna, as we get into it, you'll begin to see that it discusses the different attributes of man, the anatomy, if you will, of man on all of these different levels, from the spirit plane to the soul plane, the different features that are invested within us. Instruction number 6 asks a very peculiar question, and this is where I'm going to launch my analysis from. It actually says, after it describes a couple of things about the makeup, it says, it is not in flesh to think, it is not in bones to reason. The lion knoweth not that worms shall eat him. The ox perceiveth not that he is fed for slaughter. It says, something is added unto thee, talking about mankind, unlike to what thou seest. Something informs thy clay. Higher than all is the object of thy senses. Behold, and it asks a question. It says, what is it?
That's right.
And based on my understanding of this particular chapter and the way that it's formed and all of the different things that are explained to us in the Moorish Science Temple of America, thought is the cause of it all.
That's right.
Man himself is a seed of a law. We are thought of a law that has manifested. So it speaks to the part of the universe that deals in, for those that are familiar with this, I'm going to read from the Kabbalion, right? And specifically the 7 principles, the 7 hermetic principles. And the first one is mentalism. And I'm going to read, this is a very interesting text for those that are familiar, that explains the aspect of the universe being mental. And let me read it. It starts like this. It says, the principle the principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms of the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and in short, all that is apparent to our mental material senses, is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered through thought as an universal, infinite living mind. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole and in its parts or units has its existence in the mind of the all. In the mind, we live and move and have our being. This principle, by establishing the mental nature of the universe, easily explains all the varied mental and psychic phenomena that occupy such large portion of the public attention, and which without explanation are non-understandable and defy scientific treatment. An understanding of this great hermetic principle of mentalism enables the individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental universe and to apply the same to his well-being and advancement. The hermetic student is enabled to apply intelligently the great mental laws instead of using them in a haphazard manner. With the master key in his possession, the student may unlock the many doors of the mental and psychic temple of knowledge and enter the same freely and intelligently. This principle explains the true nature of energy, power, and matter, and why and how all these are subordinate to the mastery of mind, which sounds very familiar to Moorish Americans who have the principles instilled to them that the Prophet gave us in the Circle 7. It continues at the very end. It says, one of the old Hermetic masters wrote long ages ago, quote, "He who grasps the truth of the mental nature of the universe is well advanced on the path to mastery," end quote. And these words are as true today as the time when they were first written. So I wanted to introduce that thought, that it, in essence, when it asks the question, it says, what is it about man that is unique? I believe it's talking about consciousness. I believe it's talking about many aspects of the mental nature of the universe, mentalism. And this can be found in many of the chapters of the Moorish Quran. And I'm going to touch on one, and I'm going to let the Moors continue. I'm going to go to chapter 7, which we touched on last week. Actually, as a matter of fact, chapter 1. Let's start in chapter 1, what we were reading last week. It says, in that same section, it said that perfected man must pass through all the ways of life, and so a carnal was full manifest. A nature that sprang forth from fleshy things, and it says, without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. And it continues interestingly, it says, and thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. It talks later on in the Quran about the expansion of the mind and the gnosis of the art in the naught. And I believe these are the very essences. And that also echoes in what I read earlier about knowing yourself. When man study yourself, you know, you study your physical being, you study your soul, you should be studying your spirit in the universe. And this actually opens up the doors for the understanding of the greater degrees in the different sectors of the universe and all knowledge. So that's what I would start from, if you will. That was verse, I believe it was 5 and 6 from chapter 36, Islam.
In Islam, and I'm gonna pivot off of chapter 36 because the chapter that we're talking about is know thyself. And like I said, we're trying to get to the point where we start to discover, trying to discover who we are. And the reason why we need to discover who we are, because once we know who we are, we have a standard. See, the Prophet Nationality teaches us that if man knows, he must be what he knows. Who you truly are, now you got something to work towards and live up to. So let me direct your attention, first and foremost, let me direct your attention to verse 15. I'm going to drill this one home. This is my lane. Verse 10. This is my lane. It says, know thyself and the pride of his creation, the line uniting divinity and matter. Remember, this chapter is called Know Thyself. The line uniting divinity and matter. That's the physical and the spirit. Behold, a part of Allah himself within thee. Who are you people? A part of Allah himself within thee. Who are the true? Who is the true you people? Remember thine own dignity and then descend and nor dare descend to evil or meanness. Who are you people? Again, I will read again. Know thyself and the pride of his creation, the line uniting divinity and matter. There's a line that's dividing the flesh and the spirit. Know the difference. Behold, a part of Allah within thee. Now, with that, I want to direct your attention to the Holy Quran of Mecca. And let me tell you something. I'm going to show you why I'm going back and forth. I'm going to show you why I'm going back and forth. Hold up. Oh, they say I'm sounding like a robot. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You sound kind of monotized, brother, man.
I don't sound right?
Nah, not too quite.
Hold up.
Yeah, brother Tahaka, sound like you got the auto tune or something on.
I ain't nobody tell me that.
You could hear what you were saying, but it's just a little bit sounds when the brother Thyself speaks, it's not having that problem.
Okay, can you hear me now?
No, sir. You still sound. We can hear you and understand you clear. You just sound like you got an auto tune on. Sound like a robot a little bit.
Hold up. How about now?
It might be a plug connection.
Hold up. I want to know if people can hear me.
Yeah, I think they can hear you. You just sound funny.
I still sound funny.
Yeah.
Hold up, brother. We can't do this lesson like this. Hold up. They say even worse. For somebody to set me up. I'm still sounding worse. Hold up. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. Go ahead. Brother Seven, because I'm gonna fix this real quick.
All right. Peace. But first thing, dealing with this chapter, I'm a very simplistic guy, and I like to break things down and dissect them. So therefore, I like to deal with the language of the chapter. The title of the chapter is Know Thyself. So first, I would like to deal with the word know. And, you know, the word know, you know, means to be aware of. Through observation, inquiry, or information, having knowledge or information concerning, being absolute and certain of a certain thing. And this word comes from an old English word which means to recognize or identify. Now, the word identify is a very elaborate word used within the context of the prophet's language. So we have to understand that identify means to establish or indicate who or what something is, to recognize or distinguish, especially something considered worthy of attention. So in dealing with such, you know, when we go to the fact of knowing something and being aware of something, we go to the fact of studying. Knowing and studying, per the definition, seems to be synonymous at this point, because in order to know something, you must observe it, and knowledge is obtained by listening, looking, and observing. So therefore, what are we doing when we're studying? First, we have to identify, which we already have, that man is not the body nor the soul. He's a spirit and one part of Allah. So therefore, what are we studying? Now, when we go to the creation of fallen man, chapter 1, something very, very, very peculiar sticks out, because it states on chapter 4 at the bottom paragraph on chapter 4, which is the creation of fallen man. It says, so Allah, the husbandman of everything that is threw forth this human seed into the soil of soul, and it grew apace, and man became a living soul, and he became Lord of all the kingdom of soul, heart. Now every creature here, the plane of soul is but the ether of the spirit plane, vibrating not so fast, and in the slower rhythm of this plane, the essence of life are manifested, the perfume and the odors and the true sensations of the all of love manifest. And the word I like to pay attention to is sensations. So if we're dealing with the word sensations, we have to deal with the root of that word, which is senses. What are we sensing? And how are we sensing? So now we have to deal with attributes and potencies, which are powers given directly from Allah. So how are we sensing the powers or the possibilities of man, which is not the body nor the soul? So when we get into understanding and when we get to knowing thyself, being aware of thyself through observation and studying, that means what are we observing on our everyday life and how our spirit interacts with our soul and our physical manifest. This is why we have the instructions to set ourselves principles and ever live according to them. And in these processes, one of those things that I have set, principles that I've set for myself, is meditation. It's where I sit down and observe my thoughts. I sit down and observe the sensations and experiences that my body gets from my thoughts. So what are we truly observing? As we know, these attributes that the seed, the spirit man holds deep within himself, the potencies and the attributes, proceed directly from Allah. Directly from Allah. So are we aware of any of these powers or attributes? One of those attributes is the attribute of life itself. The attribute of life itself extends directly from Almighty God, Allah. For we know that as long as Allah lives, spirit man never dies. So the attribute of life extends directly from Allah, who is the ever living. the power and the ability to know and be aware of a certain thing proceeds directly from Allah. For Allah is the all-knowing. So that power and attribute extends directly from Allah as well as the attribute of sight proceeds directly from Allah. For Allah is the all-seeing. So truly, are we understanding what sight and seeing is? Because truly the fleshly eyes, these fleshly orbs that are within the craters in your head, truly don't see anything. They only register light. So what are we seeing? What powers are we sensing? This is the part of getting to know thyself and studying yourselves.
Islam.
So the point is, what are we observing?
Islam.
See, power, we learned that power in the Moorish Holy Quran, we learned that power is a manifest force. So where are these powers proceeding from? Now we just learned that within you is a part of Allah himself. So now that we understand that, we should understand that these attributes and potencies are proceeding directly from the spirit man. So who are we truly striving to observe? Who are we truly trying to know? And who are we truly?
Who are we truly? Islam.
Islam. Can anybody
Islam?
hear me now?
Yeah, you sound good now, brother Bay.
Can anybody hear me now? How does that sound now?
Islam. Islam, we hear you, bro.
Let's see what the people say, man. Because brother, I'm glad you held that down because you was walking right with me. So let's see if the people can hear me. Because I really want to share exactly. You just said the same exact thing. And brother, when I see you, I'm gonna have to deal with you for that. Because the truth is but one. We know truth is one, but don't be doing that. So
Islam, brother, man. Praise Allah.
that's when y'all can hear me in the audience because with you. Okay, I'm sounding good. So what I did, I took, Sheik 7, his name's 7 for a reason. He told me do a circle. He told me do 7 days. He told me go out and, I'm just, Sheik 7 did some magic. You know what I mean? The great drama. He's the magi. But now, anyway, what I'm trying to say, family, is listen, I was saying basically not even basically, I was saying to the thought of what my brother was saying, brother Sheik 7. And what I was saying is that it reads right here at chapter 36 of the Holy Quran. And the reason why I point out these things is because a lot of people seem to think, for some strange reason, a lot of people seem to think that Moorish American Muslims are some variation of some other type religious group. Some people seem to think that Moorish American Muslims are some spooked out type of group of brothers and sisters that listen and follow Noble Drew Ali unconsciously, unaware, and unhinged. Where as if Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't say, if I can teach you to think, you can save yourself. Not think like him, not think like you, and not think like her or whatever. Teach you to think. There's a process. There's a learning process how to think. So I try to pick out these things so I can really put the heat down, the holy zeal down, to show that we are bigger than what people think us to be. And maybe they can understand who they are, and maybe they can get these lessons and begin to unfold. So at verse number 10, it say, know thyself in the pride of his creation, the line uniting divinity and matter. As I was saying, that is spirit and flesh. Behold, a part of Allah himself within thee. There's a part of God within thee. Okay? Remember thine own dignity, nor dare descend to evil or meanness. I'm going to say it again. behold, a part of Allah himself within thee. With that, I want to now direct your attention to the whole, and I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this. That's where I stopped at. I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this. There is another, we hold this. This is the Holy Quran of Muhammad, the Holy Quran of Mecca. We hold it to be the revealed word of God.
Islam.
And now, if we have some Orthodox Muslims in the audience, let me explain to you what we're talking about from my point of view. And as I say, as a custom in our temple here in Baltimore, I say, if I say anything wrong, let that be on me. Don't let that blind you to the fact that Prophet Noble Drew Ali is a divine prophet. And if I stirred you the wrong way, that's on me. That's not on the prophet. So with that, hold me accountable, because I am subject to error. And please don't blame it on the law, because the law is perfect and holy, but I'm subject to error. So we hold this to be the revealed word of God, the Holy Quran of Mecca. Now, an Orthodox Muslim would say, possibly, I've heard before, as I said, this is me talking. I've heard before, well, how y'all go from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, that we hold this to be the revealed word of God. We also, the prophet teaches us that we should foster its principles among our members. But now when you read the Holy Quran in Mecca, when we hold it to be the revealed word of God, we also know that Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, he came to the Arabs of Saudi Arabia and the middle, quote unquote, Middle East and the desert people in that region. And the revealed word of God was to address every situation that they had, from spiritual to earthly. And we find that to be the revealed word of God. But now we have a prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and we hold him to be the last prophet in these days, divinely prepared. And he came with a solution that was for us. I'm talking about tailor-made, from the Negro problem to the spiritual sickness that we are now find ourselves with, the stuff that make us go back and forth with each other. He gave us something to address this illness. He has the antidote. But because we have this as the revealed word of God, we must go into it and extract the spiritual principle. The spiritual principle that we can apply universally. So while we read here and Prophet Muhammad, through the will of Allah, he's addressing the Quraysh tribe, that may not apply to us. But it can fix that problem with the Quraysh tribe, if I'm saying it right. If I'm not, please forgive me. But nevertheless, I'm going to get to the spiritual part that is universal, a part of Allah within thee. Let me direct your attention to Surah 38, verse 65, and I'm going to read till I'm done. 65. Say, truly, I am a warner. No God is there but the one, God supreme and irresistible. 66. The Lord of heavens and earth, and all between, exalted in might, able to enforce his will, forgiving again and again. Say, talking to Prophet Muhammad, that is a message supreme, above all, from which ye do turn away. No knowledge have I of the chiefs on high. No knowledge of the chiefs on high when they discuss matters among themselves. Only this has been revealed to me, that I am to give warning plainly. Here we go. Behold, thy Lord said. Now this is Prophet Muhammad giving you warning. The Lord said, thy Lord said to the angels, I am about to create man from clay. Listen to the universality of it. If you don't follow the Holy Quran of Mecca, it's fine. Extract the principle and understand what the principle means. Said to the angels, I am about to create man from clay. When I have fashioned him in due proportion and breathed into him my spirit. fall down in ambiance unto you. Telling you that Allah breathed into us his spirit. Now, let's keep it 100 now. We may have to get into some esoteric, some metaphysical. We may have to get into some figurative. We may have to get into a whole bunch of school of thought to wrap our mind around it. But the Prophet Ali says that a part of Allah is within us. The Holy Quran of Mecca, who we say is the revealed word of God, said he breathed his spirit in us. The Holy Bible, if people choose to follow that, also says that God breathed forth into man and he became a living soul. So who are we for real?
Islam. That's the way my brother. You know, in those teachings about Adam in the Bible and in the Quran, you know, you'll notice that after Allah creates Adam, he basically tells him to state the names. You know, learn the names of the other parts of the creation, basically to learn. In you know, what I teach at Temple 34, I'm the assistant Grand Sheik at Temple number 34 in Brooklyn, 239 Hancock Street. Is that, you know, when studying yourself, this is a very interesting aspect of the way that it actually happens. You know, the same way that you know, there's a process of learning, you know, the things about the universe. They begin by first studying yourself, and then that research expands throughout all parts of the universe. And coincidentally, it's the same way that when you want to affect the universe, we find out later on in our research in the Moorish in the Moorish temple that the best way to affect the world is by affecting yourself. And most you know, qualified scientists of you know, metaphysics, or you say quantum physics, you realize that that is actually the case. So what I say is that, you know, when you first, in that chapter where it says, and it actually says it on the cover of the Quran as well, it says on the very inside page, it says, know thyself and Allah. And we know this from the walls of Egypt as well. This is a famous saying. When you first begin to study yourself, you start with your, you know, before I came into the Moorish Science Temple of America, I didn't observe my own habits and tendencies as much as I did when I put myself finally under the microscope and I began to watch how I react in this situation and watch how I react in that situation. And I began to observe, okay, I see it. I see my lower self. It starts off very simply like that, and you begin to observe your lower self, and then you try to find your higher self, and you see the things that make yourself react, and you try to you have your first couple bouts with your lower self, and maybe in your naiveness you think you can knock your lower self out. I fight a lot in the streets. I have a one hit, you know, I've been known to deliver a one-hit quitter, but you learn after a few years that your lower self don't lay down like that, and it comes back. My point is, after you go through the process sincerely of studying yourself and of observing yourself, you find that later on, you have to begin to take that research beyond to your extended family. You begin to examine your family, you're examining your extended family, and then you begin to examine our people and our community. And you develop a natural sense of interest in all the different things that happen, and then that research expands from there. So I'm going to actually read. Let me read the first couple verses from chapter 36, and I'm going to finalize this thought. Again, instruction number 1. This is chapter 36, holy instructions from the prophet. Know thyself. It says, "Weak and ignorant as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust. Would thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thine frame. Fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy Creator with awe, and rejoice before him with reverence. Wherefore of all creatures art thou only erect, but that thou shouldest behold his works. Wherefore art thou to behold, but that thou mayest admire them. Wherefore to admire, but that thou mayest adore there in thy Creator." And in this observation, and it continues to break down the different qualities of man, you know, in this observation, we begin to explore the world. And like I said, it is literally the entryway to the degrees. Some of the primary understandings that, and one of the other things in my examination of my lower self, is a question that I pose for a lot of Moors, again, you know, that I run across. When we say we are either in our higher self or in our lower self, right? Once you begin to connect yourself to your family and your extended community, which grows directly from you, Can you be in your higher self if the greater community that you're around is stuck in their lower self? Which is one of the ways we find ourselves in the so-called African-American community here in the United States and around the country, around the country, county to county. Can you remain in your higher self? It's the same as by taking a drop of cold water and then dropping it into a pot of boiling water. How long is that drop of cold water going to stay the same, or does the temperature get adjusted immediately? Therefore, you see how easily we're affected by our environment, by our extended parts of ourselves, which is the community. And this is the reason why we need to study the community. And I'm going to go into some of the primary research that goes into initial study, and then the secondary, and you begin to see how the secondary research expands into the degrees that are commonly known as law and history, or religion and culture, topography, geography, astrology, cosmology. It all expands very neatly from the study of the self, Islam.
Islam.
Islam, Sheik Seven, you there?
Yes, sir.
I'm with you, my brother. I'm ready.
Islam. One thing I like to bring, first and foremost, as I said, I'm simplistic in my approach. So, we come across this word, which we keep coming across and keep repeating, is studying thyself. And we got to deal with this word, because we know that the prophet said that every word that he spoke was spirit, and that's Moorish best heed. Now, he didn't say every sentence that he spoke was spirit. He didn't say every paragraph that he spoke was spirit. He said every word that he spoke was spirit. So it is pertinent that we take the time to identify with the words. And this word study, it means to devote time and attention to acquiring knowledge of a said subject or thing. A detailed investigation and analysis of a subject or situation, giving serious thought or consideration, looking at closely in order to observe or read. Now, this word study comes from the Latin language, and that word, the Latin word is studium, which means zeal or painstaking application. Now, this word zeal pops up in the Moorish holy in our Moorish holy Quran in chapter 2, instruction 11, and it states, "And you must teach your sons and set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and make them conscious of their missions to the sons of men." So those who are listening, before I go on, I like to identify with the fact that when we're speaking of sons, let's leave the flesh and go with mind into the land of fleshless things, where things are made with thought and the character is made symmetrical, basically dealing with principle. So when we're dealing with the word son, we know that we're dealing with the children of Allah. So therefore, it says, set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal. Now, we know the word holy to imply anything sacred or divine. And holy zeal should basically imply that the study and great energy, enthusiasm in that which is divine and sacred. So we as Moorish American Muslims should be on fire with the close observation of that which is divine and sacred, with great enthusiasm. With great enthusiasm.
Stop speaking to me like that, brother.
So we also taught that a mastermind can trace himself back through the ages of time, thus he knows. So now that we keep dealing with these attributes and these powers, that we have to get in touch with to actually know ourselves, we have to understand that through these powers, we trace ourselves back to the origins of the power, which is the force. And this force is none other than Almighty God, Allah. So in this word studying and knowing that we are supposed to have, in the word studying, we're supposed to have zeal. Where is our zeal directed? Where is our zeal being directed? Is it being directed on the finite or the infinite? That which passes away or that which doesn't? Now, the brother just read key number 1. Instruction 1 from the chapter Know Thyself. And it says, weak and ignorant as thou art. Now, weak and ignorant. We know that that in our Moorish Holy Quran, it teaches us about the 5 folds of man. The 5 folds of man. Now, these 5 folds of man are instability, inconstancy, weakness, insufficiency of knowledge, and misery. That's what it's taught in our Moorish Holy Quran. So right there at the beginning of instruction 1, we are identified with 2 of the folds. We're identifying with 2 of the folds. Weakness and the insufficiency of knowledge. Anyone insufficient of knowledge is ignorant. So, as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust. Now, we already taught, the brother Ta'arthur Bey just demonstrated, out of the Holy Quran of Mecca, about man's being crafted from the clay of the earth. Here we understand the word terminology is used, dust. So now we're identifying with what part of man is suffering from the weakness. As he said, this chapter is dealing with many of the faculties of man, from spirit to soul to body. Now, wouldest thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Have we failed to realize that as the spirit thinketh, so does the flesh? See, we have what is called produced from the flesh is called carnal desires. And then what we have what in our heart, which is what we know thought is the cause of it all, we deal with the science of intent. In the science of, in the religion of Islam, we're taught about intent. Because when I was a Muslim and studying the Sunnah, when I first took my Shahada and learned how to offer Salat, the first thing I was taught was to state my intentions before I prayed. So now we'll understand intent and the purpose of a thing. The intent and the purpose of a thing. So what is thou raised our thoughts? What are we raising our thoughts to? Are we raising our thoughts from that which is finite? Or are we raising our thoughts from the flesh to the land of fleshless things, where things are made with thought, and the character is made symmetrical, where we deal with principles? If we notice, when Jesus, our brother Justice, was paying attention to the carpenter's tools, the first thing he said was they remind him of the tools of the workshop of the mind. So then we understand that what he was looking at were not the tools. So would we raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom? And what does thou observe? What does thou see omnipotence being displayed before thee? Contemplate thy frame. What is it about our flame that we can observe that will draw us back to this force that is infinite within itself? That's the question. What are we truly observing, and what is the purpose of the observation? Thought is the cause of it all. So intent is the cause of it all. What is the purpose of your observation? What are you looking at, and what are you looking at it for? Islam.
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 I can pick up right where you because both of y'all hit it right on the head, because I like how we having this conversation. Because I'm sticking. Y'all pulling it. Y'all pulling it. And
Praise the
I'm
Lord.
still sticking it. Y'all pulling it. And this is a beautiful thing. And I think people are really getting something out of this. Inshallah, if you don't get it right now, come back and take a look at it a second time. And I hope you have a Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America. If not, they bootlegged and jacklegged online. And I say that with all due respect. They have copied and pasted them online. So there is no excuse. Just like back in the day, they had the Bible in the hotel. You know what y'all was doing. They had the little brown one. The brown. I wasn't there, but there was a little brown one. A little black little Bible sitting there.
I remember that.
So you know what I'm talking about. So now these are available too. So you can, if you don't have one personally, pull one up online and study the lessons as we pulling it. When my brothers say that instruction such and such, instruction is verse such and such. That's temple talk. That's that ancient Canaanite talk that we did modernize. So when he say that, I want y'all to know he's saying verse such and such, so y'all can get this right. Anyway, back to the chapter 36 in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America. It says, and I like the screenshot with you because I'm getting a little bit better with screenshot. I think it's a cool thing. You know, I think I done learned something new.
So you're getting computer savvy, aren't you, brother, man?
I think I done learned something new. I ain't gotta call my son. Hey, Tariq, come in here and screenshot this thing. And I'm like, no, put the burner down. Now I think it was the screen, you know. Anyway, I know there's a corny joke. Don't worry about it. But so the brother went to verse 1. And it says, weak and ignorant as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust. And as my brother Seven said, you know, I read up the Holy Quran of Mecca where it speaks of forming man of clay, of a low state. Wilt thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Stop, wait a minute. Do we know what infinite means? Do we know? Okay, would thou? It's asking a question. Would thou? And it's actually a rhetorical question. Would thou? Can you? If you want to, if you would, if you will, raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom. Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thy frame. Contemplate thine frame. Okay, now stop for a minute. Hold up. Let's go right here. Let's just look at one of the words, omnipotence.
Quality of having unlimited and very great power.
If you understand who you are, people, if you was to raise your thoughts to infinite wisdom, wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thine frame. The brother say he meditates, he contemplates before he pray, he thinks, he getting his mind right, he getting his spirit right. And with that being said, if you want to see and have unlimited power, you can definitely do this. His command is only when he attends a thing that he says to it, be, and it is. That's unlimited power. When you can put in your mind, thought is the cause of it all. When you can say be, and it is. Now guess what? We ain't talking about no spook right here. We're not talking about something in the clouds right here. We're talking about something that you can put in your mind.
Praise
put in your mind.
Praise the Lord.
Islam.
And you can say be, and it is. That is your unlimited power.
The power of intent.
That is your unlimited power. Now, I want y'all can touch on that, brother. Touch on that for a minute.
If I can, because you guys are charging me up, brother. He feel you. This is your show, More. Can I jump in real quick?
Yo,
Oh,
brother.
man, nah, it ain't my show. It's our show, brother, man. Do your thing.
Praise Allah, praise Allah. And again, this is a very powerful and mystical chapter as well, with the multiple levels of meaning. I always warn those that are students of the Circle 7 Quran of the layered meanings. In that verse number 1, you know, another way to look at, and which you're exactly saying, when it said, would thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? You could also exchange the word raise to expand. Can you expand your thoughts? What can you learn? Remember this original story where Adam was charged to learn. In chapter 7, chapter 7, verse 19 and 20, for those that are familiar with the Holy Quran, it talks about Lamas again as of understanding, what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the rock on which man builds himself. It is the gnosis, the separation or the understanding of art and the naught, of falsehood and of truth. Chapter 26, verse 9 talks about the wise man cultivates his mind with knowledge. Chapter 30, verse 7 says, from the largeness of his mind, he comprehends the wishes of all men. In chapter 1, as I said, thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. I'm gonna read a few more verses down into chapter 36, and I'm gonna continue where I stopped from verse 3, just to get the essence of the chapter. It says, wherefore is consciousness repose on thee alone, and whence is it derived to thee? It is not in flesh to think, it is not in bones to reason. The lion knoweth not. Notice how many times it talks about knowing and not knowing. The lion knoweth not that worms shall eat him. The ox perceiveth not that he is fed to slaughter. And this is that question that I mentioned. Something is added to thee, unlike to what thou seest. Something informs thy clay. Higher than all is the subject of thy senses. Behold, what is it? The body remaineth perfect after it is fled. And that's a clue of what it's asking you. What is this thing? And I believe the answer is consciousness and knowledge. The body remaineth perfect after it is fled. Therefore, it is no part of it. It is immaterial. Therefore, it is eternal. Mentalism is eternal. It is free to act. Therefore, it is accountable for its actions. That speaks to the mathematics of the knowledge of the universe. Knoweth the ass the use of food, because his teeth mow down the herbage, or standeth erect the crocodile, although his backbone is as straight as thine. And I'm going to stop there and say that. So in this path of getting to know the self, which the Quran is instrumental in helping us, it gives us very strong keys. Let's talk about some of the primary understandings that we did not have beforehand, and that the Holy Quran and the Prophet and the law have given us. And the primary understandings are the unity of Allah and man. Allah and man being one. This is what we talk about all the time. You know, several times. You know, Allah is the cause of it all. Allah's will is which we're seeking on. Muslims are on a straight path where towards Allah. And that puts us within the will of Allah, within the power train of the will of Allah, if you will. So unity in the law of Allah and man. That's the first thing. The second one we get from the Quran, we get our connection to mankind. You know, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, it said the Prophet mended the broken wires and connected us back to our higher powers. In the connection to mankind, with Moorish Americans, we can trace ourselves to Adam via chapter 45 or chapter 47. Adam or all of the prophets, you know, so we know our lineage. This is another primary understanding in this study of self. The third thing will be what is our path and our purpose? You know, we read last week about Jesus talking about, and we were in the chapter 5 about perfecting oneself. And when you, in the process of perfecting yourself, how you can move through the higher levels. This is one of the secrets of, you know, the brilliance of Allah and the Prophet and the Moorish Science Temple of America is that it elevates us. And when the student is ready, they say the teacher will appear. And we learn about the silent brotherhood and all these other things. But as we elevate, we increase our benefits, our blessedness. So what is the purpose? Is to perfect ourselves so we can go up and not stagnate and get stuck. And then when we do this, we learn man's ability. We talked about in the soul, there's infinite capabilities that we actually have, and there's powers that are unleashed as we begin to perfect ourselves. That's 3. And the fourth thing will be the power of unity. The simple power of unity. Allah in the Quran says he recognizes men and nations. And if you look at the rest of the world that's not broken, like our nation was broken up,
Yes.
they move in unison and they help one. Each one helps one, and they move along in a chain. And this is the second, this is the fourth of the primary understandings that you get in studying self in the Moorish Science Temple of America. When I come back on, I want to go into some of the secondary and tertiary degrees that you get, which begin to expound in some of the more familiar areas of research and understanding. But it's all goes back to the self, the studying the self. Because you can't study about your ancient history if you can't place yourself in your ancient history. Unless you some type of computer and nobody studies that way. Oh, I'm just going to read about a group of people. I have no idea who they are and how they connect to me, unless you can place yourself in that spot. And in order to place yourself, you first need to know yourself, including your lineage. Islam,
my brother. I seen you grab a book, brother Seven. So I'll let you grab it real quick, brother. Do your thing. I see
Islam more. The brother read instruction 8, and he went into instruction 8. He said, it says, knoweth the ass the use of food, because his teeth mow down the herbage, or standeth the crocodile erect, although his backbone is as straight as thine. To me, that says a lot, because we know, as we observe the ass or the donkey, for those who that word may offend, as we observe the donkey, we know for a fact that as his teeth mow down the herbage, he doesn't know the benefit, the health benefits, or the science behind the usage of the herbs. Nor is the crocodile aware that his spine is straight as ours. This all comes through our consciousness or awareness or observation of ourselves in conjunction with the creation. The Quran of Mecca says there are signs and symbols in the creation for those who have the eye to see. These signs, a sign and a symbol, is something that alludes to something that may have a hidden meaning. So therefore, there are signs and symbols in the creation for those who have eyes to see, for the creation bear witness to us. Now, I just pulled out a book, and it's called The Holy Covenant, Truth, Perfect Flame, Angel Unaware. And it was written by Sheikh J. Blakely Bey. And I like to read something he said because it was very profound. He said, man's thoughts and deeds and actions in regards to the human race should be purity and innocence. Now, when he can realize that his spirit, which is the very life of his physical form, is the God that created him, then he could have a right to believe in reincarnation, for man only lives in the flesh for a short period of time, then passes on into life without the flesh, in the most cases for long periods of time, then is reincarnated into other human forms, such as created babies. Now, we just read that, behold, a part of Allah himself within you. Also in the Moorish Holy Quran, it teaches us that Allah didn't create a heaven or a hell for man. We are creators and we create our own. That's an attribute of Allah. To create. Creator. Now we are getting into and getting in touch with and identifying with the powers, with the attributes, the power to create. We know that the circle represents creation, the perfect creation. What are you putting inside your circle? What are you placing inside your circle? What are you creating? Know thyself. Pardon me. It says, instruction 9, Allah formed thee as he formed these. After them were thou created. Superiority and command were given thee over all. And of his own breath did he communicate the principle of knowledge. What is the principle of knowledge? Because the principle of knowledge was communicated. What's the principle of knowledge? The principle of knowledge is to know and be aware. But what is the grade of knowledge there is to have? But to have knowledge of yourself. What greater thing is there to sense other than the true sensations of the true self? And what are they? See, a lot have come to the fact that I'm not Negro, I'm not black, I'm not colored, I'm not Ethiopian. I'm not. But do you know that that also has a spiritual equivalence? Do you understand to be black is to be blacked out, to have a temporary loss of memory? Do you know to be a Negro, black, or colored is to be basically lower than the beast of the fields? Who are you? So these things have a very much of a spiritual connotation as they do on the plane of things made manifest. Signs and symbols are for the conscious mind. What are you conscious of? That's the question.
How about that?
Islam.
Islam. So I want to say this before I dig in just a little bit deeper. What I want to do is, my brother Conrad, that's a good brother of mine. And he's been following the show from the time when we bumped heads about the faith. So my brother come into the chat and he said, well, they just talking philosophical stuff. Well, I said, brother, you came in an hour late. Because we told and taught and actually expounded upon who we are truly. And that's what we're talking about, who we are. It's not nothing philosophical about it. Sure, we might have a philosophical approach to enter into the realm of truth, but it's not philosophical, it's fact. There's something more to you than what you see in your mirror. There's something more to you that if you drop something on your toe and say, ow, it's still something more to you. And that's what we was talking about. So you might have to go back and rewind because I need to do a plug. I got some. The plug that I have to do is the plug to show you that when you say that you believe in a creator, God, Allah, the infinite being, and you believe that God intervenes by the way of man, nothing crazy, no big hands coming out the clouds, no big spook sitting up and say, hey, go to the left. Nah, he intervened through man, to man, the same way he speaks to man, through man, nothing spooky about it. But you must get in tune with yourself to understand that Allah is within yourself. A part of Allah is within you. And see, the benefits of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we understand that we have been visited by a prophet of God. We understand that just as every other people on the planet Earth throughout history that have suffered an atrocity, a misfortune, that it got so bad that they could not find their way back They could not find their common senses. They could not pull it back together. God intervened by the way of man. He didn't come out no clouds, flying on a cloud like a surfboard. He intervened by the way of man. And that God, that Allah, that Almighty, whatever you choose to call that entity, intervened for us. You can say what you want. I get pumped up. I sound like a Baptist preacher. I get pumped up about this because this is the real deal. Now, I want to share something with you. I'm going to screenshot this real quick, and then we're going to move right forward. Like I said, this is a plug. This is a plug for my prophet, Noble Drew Ali. All right? So that's what we're going to plug, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali. As we said, we read that the Holy Quran is we hold it to be the revealed word of God. And I said to you that there is a message in the Holy Quran that is dedicated for the people of the Arabian Peninsula or of Arabia. And then there's a universal message for all. It's the revealed word of God specifically and universally. But you need to know the line dividing the universal and the specific that is catered to the people whom the prophet was sent to. We also have a prophet sent to us. It says in the Holy Quran of Mecca, 16, verse 1636, and certainly we sent to every nation, saying, worship Allah and avoid Taha. And my brother been in the Sunni community, I'm pretty sure he can add on to this. And among them, Allah guided, and among them were those whose error was deservedly decreed. So proceed through the earth and observe how was the end of the deniers. Now, hold up. Look at the principal sense of it. It says that we have certainly sent to every nation a messenger. I'm asking you, first of all, is black a nation? Is there a nation somewhere called black? Is there a nation called color? No, I'm going back there with you because I want to share another one with you. This Surah 49:13, it says, oh man, behold, we have created you out of all out of male and female and made you into nations and tribes. The time you fail to be a nation, you are in error. Because I just showed you that Allah sends messages to nations. I'm showing you if you believe in this or if you don't, it's okay. If you do, I'm telling you that Allah sends messages to nations. It says again, oh man, behold, we have created you out of male and female and have made you into nations and tribes. I want to ask you, where is your nation? This is nothing strange. This is nothing new. This has happened all throughout history. All throughout history, that when man got lost and went astray, Almighty God has intervened by the way of a man or a woman, whatever the case may be. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the one who has intervened by the will of Allah for us. And that's why we understand today that the Spirit of Allah is in us. This is the ancient wisdom. This is nothing new. It's just something that we haven't been taught. So when we begin to know that God's Spirit, a part of God is within us, we have a capability that's beyond our understanding. And we must tap into that. And until we tap into that, we're going to have problems. We're going to see what we seen earlier this week with the back and forth, you know, and people getting bent out of shape. We're going to see those things because we need to begin to tap in the source of all life. And a part of that is within us. We need to tap into it. Stop blocking. You know, my good Christian said, you ain't going to block my blessings. But let me tell you something. We block our connection. to our higher self by thinking on a lower vibration, and we limit ourselves. We need to stop limiting ourselves. Think. If you think, you can be it. So, man, thank you. So shall it be. You should be able to put in your mind and conceptualize that if I say be, I can make it happen. If you ain't there,
if you think
you ain't there, you got some work to do. See, I think I can say be and it can happen. I've done put things in my head, in my brain, in my spirit, and it doesn't happen. I'm telling you, you can do the same. And this is no spook, but you're gonna have to do some work too. Come on, my brother.
Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, if you think your condition can be better, then join the Moorish Science Temple of America. You know, thought is indeed the cause of it all. You know, sometimes it's very interesting how people, you know, they get off track because they don't understand how, you know, complex things build and extend from very simple things. You know, this is the, you know, again, the nature of being sincere in the Moorish Science Temple of America. The way that the greater degrees open up, they start off with very simple degrees like obedience, being able to follow instructions. So if I can, I wanted to continue my thought into getting into even secondary understandings of the knowledge itself. We'll get into interesting areas, and I brought a couple of books I like to share some primary reading for Moorish Americans or those that are on the path of a greater understanding of self. And I like to start by first giving, you know, I want to give honors. I want to do some.
You locked up, brother. Go ahead, Seb. He gonna come back in a minute. He locked up.
Islam. First thing I want to do, bro, man, is address that statement that was evidently, I don't know if it was made in the chat or whatever, but whoever said that we all on this they all philosophical or whatever.
Oh no, he apologized because he wasn't here earlier.
Okay, all right. But anyway, I still gotta address it. The reason why I have to address it, because the brother used a specific word that I think maybe if he put the word in proper context, he may have chose a different word, even to support his thought. Not disrespecting your thought, brother, man, or your opinion, because you have the right to that. But
he got thick skin. He got thick skin, Seven. He good.
Yes, sir. So philosophy means the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline. Things that are synonymous with thinking, thought, and reason. Yo, brother, man, anytime that I speak, you know, and someone tells me that I'm being philosophical, you know what? Islam. I extend the 5. Thank you very much, brother. But the brother Cyrus L is back on. Islam.
Yeah, I dropped out. My connection dropped, so I had to switch to my phone. Can you hear me, brother?
But see, that's what I'm talking about, brother. We talking all this spirit stuff, brother. We need to create an internet company, because I'm tired of you. Right. I'm playing, brother. Come on.
We're working on it. So, like I said, I wanted to extend to Brother Jones Bay. I'd also like to extend to the Grand Governor here in the state of New York, Brother C. Hurt Bay, who was also hang on here. Who is also a very good teacher. You know, the brother's brilliant. You know what I mean? He has a vast knowledge of Moorish science, and I give him honors for that. I give honors to he's the Grand Governor here in the state of New York. I give honors to Brother W. Clendenin Bay, my Grand Sheik at Temple number 34. You know, who's been dedicated for 30 years. I went off the line talking about the importance of knowing how long someone's been in the movement. It helps you get a better idea. Me, myself, I've been a member for 14 years. And praise Allah, you know, the Moors have trusted me to become a sheik. And my former Grand Sheik, Sister E. German Bay, actually selected me to become a divine minister. Praise Allah for her. But you know, I've only 14 years in. Brother W. Clendenin Bay has been a member for 30 years. He's very knowledgeable of the lessons. The brother's an excellent example of a Moorish American. He's a family man. Brother A. Hopkins Bay, the Grand Sheik of Temple number 11, is also he's an excellent Moorish American and a great teacher of Moorish science. Understand, you know, the brother's written over 15 books, including books like What Your History Books Failed to Teach You. Islam Wars, am I still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my connection on my computer keeps going in and out. And he's one of the best teachers and students and examples of the Moorish American, of a Moorish American in the movement. I extend my honors to the Grand Sheik of Temple number 57, Sister D. Warner Bay, who's an elder in the temple and also one of my teachers. You know, long story short, Brother Sharif N.I.L. Bay is a very powerful Moor. All that know him know that the Brother Sharif and most of the senior members of Ali's men, let me add this in as well, including Brother Tuna K.L., Brother McCoy L. Those Moors are about, if I'm not mistaken, most of them are about 20 to 25 years in the Moorish Science Temple of America. And Moors, you know, a lot of times they equate that to your age. So if I'm 14 years in the movement, I'm about a 14-year-old. So I can teach you certain things. But, you know, if you see a member that's 25 or 30 years, you get to meet a sister like Sister D. Warner Bay, who's probably 50 plus years in the movement. You know, you can actually trust in her.
Tell how long I've been in it.
How long you been in, Brother Talker Bay?
I ain't telling you.
Islam.
No, but I've been since 1990. How long is that?
Praise Allah. Praise Allah since 1990. That's a lot. That's, what is that, 27 years?
27. It don't seem that long. Yeah.
Praise Allah.
But let me keep it 100. I really dedicated myself uncut the last year. And if people would dedicate themselves early on, they would benefit way more than their mind could even conceptualize.
Islam.
I was going to temple and everything, but I really, the last bit, I dedicated and threw it all away and gave it all.
Islam. That's very important to gauge the ability of a teacher and where they are on this path of unfolding this powerful understanding. So let me really quickly, I don't want to be too long with it. Let me get into secondary understanding, the way that in my experience, it's unfolded to me. You know, there are things that I didn't know before that I learned in this path of studying self, including my lineage. Like I said, you know, understanding my connection between Noah, Adam, and Abraham, and so on and so forth through the Moorish Holy Quran. My culture and my recent history, including, you know, connections to Moorish history, Egyptian history, and our Hebrew connections. These are other things that actually in our connections to Islam and understanding our contributions to Islam. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a book here, an example of that. It's entitled The Golden Trade of the Moors by E.W. Boville. Also, there's books like the Moors of Spain by Stanley Lane Poole. These are primary readings. There's the author, Brother Jose Pimenta Bay's Othello's Children in the New World. You know, they exemplify. There's books on, you know, Buddhism, and you can study about Osiris and Isis. These things begin to expand your understanding once you make the connection. And then there are things that I didn't even care to know before I was a Moorish American, like the documents from the original meetings of the United States of America. Including the articles of association, the articles of confederation, and the articles of the Constitution of the United States of America. Without knowing that we have a connection there, you may not study them the same way. And this is a book. This is an excellent example. Most Moors are familiar with this. This is a very good copy of the Constitution of the United States of America, which includes the Federalist Papers. And then other things that I didn't care to know before. Our connection to U.S. history, you know, the study of the wars. At a certain stage in this study itself, I got to a point where I was very interested in U.S. history. I studied all the wars, the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Mexican War, the Civil War, and so on and so forth. In eras like Reconstruction, this is the book that Brother Sharif Bey introduced a couple of months ago. This is entitled The Wars of Reconstruction. You know, once you have an interest in self and you begin to study self, you begin to study our previous eras. And knowing about Reconstruction is vastly important because they actually connect you to the need for our civic engagement. When you know what our ancestors, our recent ancestors went through in order to have the right to vote, in order to establish the amendments, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, we don't have to worry about the 13th, 14th, 15th amendments. you know, because I'm declaring our nationality puts us directly into the constitutional fold. But what it took to establish that is a very powerful story, you know, and these things begin to expand when you study self, you become interested in them. And that leads to understanding of civic engagement and political power, voting and representation and things of that nature. Here's the last book I want to share. This is a book, I don't know if you can see it very clearly. It's a book called Life Upon These Shores, looking at African-American history from 1513 to 2008, and it's written by Henry Louis Gates Jr. And again, it's a coffee table style book. It has a lot of information about all of the different things that we went through on these, you know, on these shores, all of the different riots, all of our great leaders from the past, and their stories in completion, including some of the brothers and sisters that the noble Drew Ali actually worked with, including the brothers from Chicago. You know, the politicians in Chicago that the Prophet worked for. Bingham Bank is in the book as well. So again, my point is, you know, we expound from there. In the Moorish Science Temple of America, there are specialized teachers that exist that can help you, you know, in this process of expanding our knowledge. We need teachers. We need instructors to lead us along the way. And the Moorish Science Temple of America is very much so like a ladder, like what you're doing, Brother Tahaka Bay. You know, each one teaches one. But if you study by yourself, you don't get the same effect. We talk about a thing called the holy breath transmission. You know, where teachers that had teachers who their original teachers were taught by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and you get the breath transmission. So you make sure that the lessons that were intended in the Circle 7 Quran come out accurately, the way that the Prophet actually intended them. And from there, you know, our knowledge increases. Islam. Well, we coming up on the closing hour. I'm gonna let my guest, Sheik Seven, take us out, and then I'll close out behind him. Come on, my brother. But let me tell y'all something. Sheik Seven is, if he's able to, because he's a busy brother. If he's able to, I want to try to have him a permanent on the show, at least at minimum every other week. If I could get him every week, that'd be a blessing. At minimum every other week. If I get him every week, that'd be a blessing. And Cyrus Hill and I, we're going to do a show every week where we're talking about the culture. We're talking about hip hop. We're talking about why little Kim got that blonde hair and her skin so fair now. They call that fair. See, I can call it fair. But why it's so pale now? We're going to talk about why don't somebody that's in the rap game that's super hot, super popular, why don't they pull their pants up so everybody else can follow suit? Because some people just didn't get the memo. Everybody ain't doing that no more. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about why. We need to talk about things in our culture. We need to shake it up a little bit. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to shake it up a little bit. Let me see what's going on. I'm here to shake it up a little bit. Hold on, Islam. So I need to shake it up a little bit. We're going to talk about these fraternities. We're going to talk about why I seen this fraternity demonstration where these guys' pants was hanging off their behind. We're going to talk about these cute dogs. You know, we're going to talk about why they want to be dogs anyway. We're going to address all of this stuff. So I just want you to know, hey, Masons, I love you, family. You are my brother. But guess what? We are going to address some things. You know what I'm saying? Masons, trust me. I love you. And let me be clear. Let me give a shout out to a good brother, that Ishmael Bey. I'm going to play it. His name, Haram. I forget the brother's name. His name is Harold. I'm going to bring it up in a minute. But good brother, man. He said he loved the show. I want to give him a shout out. So I'm going to pull him up. But anyway, we're going to talk about these things. We're going to talk about all of these weird things. Like I see something today, that one picture of a little boy, and now there's a grown woman, so to say, quote unquote. Why don't we want to talk about these things? Society has dumped us to accept the nonsense. Oh, we're going to talk about it. Oh, we're going to get somebody upset, but they're going to be all right. They're going to be all right. That don't mean I don't love you. Just because we're going to address some things.
We're going to talk about why the little boy, the little girl was a cute little girl with barrettes and the little jaws in the hair, but now it's a boy. And we accept it. And we accept it. No, we're not saying treat anybody greasy or disrespectful. But in your mind, we must know what's right and what's wrong so we can make the right decision. We should not accept and dumb down, because when we dumb down, we teach our children to dumb down, and then we don't have a standard. Our standard should be a Moorish American Muslim standard, and you don't have to say it in that vernacular. Our standard should be high. Brother Sheik 7, I think before I let you go, let me see who this is on the phone. I already know who it is. We gonna go. It's time, man.
Hello?
Are you there?
Yeah, this is Conrad.
There you go. Sheik 7. This is my brother. Conrad, you know I love you, brother. And I ain't gonna throw you under the bus, but I'm gonna just throw you under the Volkswagen. He said it, Sheik. He said it. He said it.
It's love, my brother. Peace and love.
You hear, Conrad?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
No, we ain't coming to battle, brother. This is a peaceful show tonight.
No.
I just want to let you know, first off, this is all constructive. I learn things from you all the time, first off. You know, I just want to let you know that.
Right.
And so first off, what I meant by philosophy, I was kind of hinting towards religion.
Right.
But I listened to everything that he said, and I'm not saying that it was wrong.
Right.
But, you know, it says know thyself. We were talking about, you know, are you human, you know, and the thing says know thyself.
Right.
The thing about it is, sometimes we can get, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but we can talk about the stuff that sounds so good, you know, and go to the books and even go to our own philosophies and even certain myths and stuff that's kind of like common that we talk about. But really, when you talk about knowing thyself, that includes your personality, your character, you know, you as a citizen and in service of what you do on the individual level.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'm talking about. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, no one talks about that.
Oh, no. Because I'm gonna tell you why. Conrad. I don't mean to cut your wisdom. You know how I do, but I don't mean no harm. I'm gonna tell you why. Because at the beginning of the show, we basically were talking about all the things that I was basically talking about, all the things that happened this week, all the back and forth and all this. And so basically the show that I was trying to bring was that we are higher than we even have comprehension of. And once we can acknowledge how high we really are as it relates to who we are, then we have something to strive for. You understand? A higher ideal. So that was the topic of the show. We need to know who we are, the core of us, the real us, and everything else in between, as you said. But I was striving to show people that there's a core in us that is divine, that is omnipotent, and that is infinite. If we know that, we have a mark to try to reach. That's what I was trying to get with the show. But what you're saying is absolutely correct.
And and as well, again, at the beginning of the show, we did talk about the importance of the study of self being the foundation, and it expand. I try to slow walk it into some of the higher, you know, as it expands into the more specialized knowledge. But it all starts with self, brother. Comrade, you're right and exact with that.
I think some people, when you really find out yourself like on a universal level, right? Not where you believe, or sometimes when we say no, we really mean believe. I mean where we are in the universe. You know what I'm saying?
When we know ourselves, that's when we can get to the point where we can say be and it is. We have unlimited powers, brother. We have unlimited force in us. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we need to tap into that. If we don't believe that, then guess what? We're going to live in a world that's basically a matrix of nothing but illusions.
That is what we live in.
No. That's where you live in. That's where you live in.
Well, everything that we see is an illusion.
Oh, absolutely. What I'm saying is, I don't acknowledge the power of an illusion. I mean, I don't acknowledge the illusion have any control over my situation.
Yeah, I understand where you're going. I'm just saying, you know, I was listening to everything he was saying, and that's all I'm basically saying. You know, I know he said that he meditated and everything, and everything, but I just want to know, you know, if we.
Hey, comrade, I need your address so I can send you affairs, brother. I'm gonna call you because you inboxed me. I need to send you affairs, and I need to get you lined up, brother, because you about to get your nationality card, brother. Stop playing. Stop playing around, brother.
Come on, brother, man.
I love you, my brother. I definitely appreciate you, brother. I definitely appreciate you. And let me give you some honor real quick, brother. And I'm not saying this so everybody can do it. Brother, you don't have to keep doing it. Every time this brother watch this show or he call in, I look at the alert and this brother drops $5 into the Moorish World TV tour. Every single time. There's not one time he hasn't done it, not that I know of. And I'm not trying to encourage you to continue to do it. I'm just saying I appreciate it, brother. I honor you for that. Because the first time we met, we bumped heads on this show right here. But it was a beautiful bumping of the heads. It wasn't a bumping of the heads where we disliked and we hate each other, because we still talking to this day and we still building to this day, and you still contributing to the paradigm of the Prophet Noble Ali, brother. And I have to give you honor for that, my brother. I appreciate you.
Well, like I said, I give you 5. I wish I had more.
Oh, brother, stop it. Don't say no more. I honor you and I appreciate you and I love you for it, brother.
And then one more thing before you go, I know y'all gotta go. When you was talking about the cues or whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna get them too.
All right, well, you know, we see them acting crazy and that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? They're young, they stupid, you know, in terms of parties and all of that, but you know, they do a lot of good things and stuff, but all I'm gonna say is, you know, they know who their roots are, and they always go respect their roots. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Bro, only thing I do is I try to start the conversation in order to raise the standard high. If we don't start the conversation, we can never have the ability. We would never have the ability to set the standard a little higher. You understand what I'm saying? It's not, I'm not condemning anybody. Who am I to condemn anybody? Man, I did some things, right, man, back in the goodness of gracious. You know what I mean? Man, Allah has blessed me, you know, to come through some things. So I'm not condemning nobody. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring awareness so we can raise the standard a little higher, because this world has let the standard go so low that we don't even acknowledge the ills of the world. The Prophet Noble Ali said the glory and the shame has been misplaced. It's okay to be shameful today. We don't care about being shameful. That's why we can wear our pants off behind. The glory and the shame has been misplaced. That's why sisters can walk around and do what they do. You understand what I'm saying? The glory and where it is to be shameful, we have no understanding. So we have to, as Moorish Americans and as people of a conscious higher ideal, we have to set the standard a little bit high. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you, and I just want to say thank you for having the show. I'm gonna support you as much as I can, and thank you. You're a good example. You know, you made one video. I saw you rapping. You're a good rapper. No, seriously, you were on beat and everything. I was surprised.
Man, what you mean I was on beat, man? I know that European has intermingled with my people, but I got rhythm. Man, come on, comrade. You was on beat and everything. How old are you, comrade? You hitting me with an old head statement. You old, but you can rap.
No, for real. And another thing, you know what I'm saying? You did a video and you was building an actual house, a room or something, and you had your son. And to me, that's the stuff that I look at like, wow, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, brother, that's what we gonna bring to every neighborhood, man. Be the will of God, man. We're gonna bring to every neighborhood the tools of how to take control and take your neighborhood and build it with a little bit of money. That was actually a Moorish Science Temple, my Moorish Science Temple, under the leadership of D. Bailey Hill, the Supreme Grand Sheik of our grand body. And yeah, we built that. It was condemned. We built that with our hands. With our hands. And guess what? with my own dime.
Exactly. So all that talking of religion and this and that, look, man, the bottom line is you come to Compton, you need a volunteer or something, I'll help you, man. I'll help you build something.
And I know you will, my brother. Peace and love, my brother. I appreciate you.
Yep, and so thank you, man. Thanks for having me, man. I'll see you on your next show.
Absolutely. Peace and love. Sheik Seven, the floor is yours, my brother.
Islam was comrade. Peace and love, brother, man. Peace and love, brother, man. Honors and gratitude for your for the call in and support of Moorish World TV. Of course, once again, I'd like to give all thanks and perfect praises to Allah and the highest honors to His holy and divinely ordained prophet, and honors to everything Moorish up under the sun. I'd like to extend honors to my leadership, Sheik Thyself, and the whole administration here at the Moorish Science Temple of America, subordinate temple in North Carolina. I'd like to extend honors to all true and faithful Moorish American Muslims all over the land. You know, I extend my five: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Your brother in the spirit of Islam. Ending off, you know, touching on the basis of nationality, we understand that nationality is the quality and characteristics of the fact of a person belonging to a said nation, state, or family. And nationality also determines one's political status. But dealing with the qualities and characteristics, we got, you know, an instruction 2 of the chapter 36. It says, fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Now we know that Muslims are not made, they're born. So we're dealing with this made issue. We're dealing with, you know, this composition. So fearfully and wonderfully, you know, those are attributes. Those are attributes that we have innately. So yes, in a lot of manners, knowing thyself also implies us knowing every aspect of ourselves, every aspect. And we know that there's a power and a spirit in the name. The first man was given the instruction to name everything on this planet.
Powerful, brother. Woo!
Everything on this planet. My question is, you know, are we naming anything, or are we still being named? Naming today. My demonstration went off. Where my phone at?
No,
my joint went off, Mom.
We can still hear you. We can still hear you, brother.
I'm going off, man. My joint shut.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna say peace out to the brother. He say he going off because his thing shut down on him, but it's all good. Family, I want to say this. Any closing remarks before I close out, my brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Real quickly, brother, Tahaka Bay, I want to thank you for having me on the platform. I just wanted to end with the thought, you know, listening to the conversation over the past few days, you know, and it's funny, you know, where the attention would take you in this study itself, as it begins to expand. And I didn't get a chance to reach where mine is at currently, where my interests lie. I'm very, for those that know me, I'm very, very concerned, hyper concerned with the unity of our people, which speaks to our ability to be able to work together. You know, and you know, it's very important. This discussion about mentalism at its base, and again, somebody who's a student of quantum physics, you know, you understand that the universe is in fact a reflection of yourself. So when we look in the face, we look of man, we look into the face of Allah. And when you look at men, you see reflections of yourself at the same time, you know, paraphrasing. So whenever I hear my brothers or sisters, you know, begin to judge, harshly judge other brothers and sisters, or even, you know, harsh criticisms of the Moorish Science Temple of America itself and the shortfallings of it, you know, it makes me wonder about, again, the correcting the logic behind that, understanding that you're looking at yourself, you're looking at your own, you know, when you look at the Moorish Science Temple of America, we look at a cross section of our own community. Our community is, you know, it's easy to paint us to be horrible. You know, when you look at brothers and sisters, we're in a sad state at this particular point. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a beautiful organization, and it's much better, but it's still a cross section of the progress that we've made since the Prophet left this powerful vehicle in our hands. You know, so when we judge the temple, we're actually judging ourselves. And to me, I have a hard time following the logic, and I pray repair on the mind, the wiring of the mind of my brother or sister who has these type of thoughts, as well as, you know, it's very similar to brothers and sisters outside of the Moorish Science Temple of America who criticize Moors, the classic Moors, as if they're not their relatives as well, just because they don't agree or understand the connection between themselves and the Moors. So, you know, that's my final thought, is just, you know, is just a prayer that we will learn, you know, how to always be in our highest selves and always look to try to squash down, like the brother was saying. I saw a video yesterday. It was the brother Ashel Kwesi said the Egyptians stomped down evil with the left foot so that the heart can move forward. You know, I pray that we would be able to stomp out discord, so that we could actually have love and unity amongst our brothers and sisters. And again, I salute you, brother Tahaka Bey, for your work. You got a hard job, Moore. You know, you got a very hard job, but I thank you for your work and for the existence of Moorish World TV. And with that, I bid you, brother Sheik, in peace.
Islam Sheik. And the brother say I have a hard job, but man, the boss is wonderful. The boss is wonderful.
That's right.
I mean, and when the boss is so wonderful, who is that there?
Islam.
Islam, brother. Oh, let me let you finish your thought. Come on, brother.
Oh, like I was saying, man. You know, dealing with the character and quality, the qualities and characteristics of the fact of a person belonging to a said nation, state, or family. We're paying attention to the attributes of our ancient forefathers, for we know that we are what our ancient forefathers were. We are today without doubt or contradiction. Who are your ancient forefathers? What were they? You know what I'm saying? The Prophet taught us and gave us the thought to return to the mind and the thinking of our ancient forefathers. We know that thought is the cause of it all. So we're understanding and knowing that our ancient forefathers were the creators and the founders of the civilized, the old world, and the first civilizations. We must ask ourselves: are we truly in the thinking of our ancient forefathers? You know, and the first physical man was definitely our ancient forefather. The first physical man was given the responsibility to name things. What are we naming? As I said, you know, the name of anything displays the nature of it. You know, what names and labels and titles have you accepted? That's that in getting to know ourselves from the plane of things made manifest to the plane of soul, to the highest planes of spirit life, which is Almighty God, Allah. You know thyself. And in the front of the Moorish Holy Quran, it says, know thyself and Allah. Define the word and. The word and connected thyself to Allah in conjunction. So know your nature. Are you God? Are you Mason? You what? Islam.
Islam. And I like to just add on in closing. You done, my brother? You good?
Islam.
That's my brother. We're going to come back again next week. I like to add in closing. And first, with both thoughts that my beautiful brothers came and brought to the table, especially that final thought. First one, I want to bounce off of my brother Cyrus Zeal. And I think this show was well needed, because if y'all are aware of the platform, sometimes this platform can get sort of Sinetta-ish. What do I mean by that? When I say Sinetta-ish, I'm just saying it gets a little drama. And the reason why it gets like that, let me explain a little bit. The reason why it gets like that, not because I do this for views. I could care less. Not because I do this for attention. Trust me, it's not that serious. But because I have no problem with telling the people how I feel according to my understanding of the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. No problem. My mother will tell you. And I'm going to go live with my mother one time. Just to show people. My mother will tell you how serious I am. She might be watching right now. My mother, my sister.
Praise Allah.
Everybody who knows me will tell you how serious I am about this. I tell people all the time, I go to see Moorish Americans ain't no squares. We ain't crazy. We still got family that do whatever they want to do. I went to, and a few people that know me, I told them the story. I went to a friend of mine's birthday party in a club. It was a real club with real drinks, real people smelling like herb, weed, marijuana, like real people drinking and all that. So I go there to support my friend and to see all my childhood friends. And do you know people started coming up to me and start talking about God? I'm like, good, like we in a club. Chill out. You know, smell like weed and all that. But what that is, and I say this for, what that is people have seen me transition from what they are doing to what I'm doing now. So when you see me on Moorish World TV, you see me. This is not an act. This is who I am. People say, oh, he trying to be like Sat, man. This is me. If y'all seen the show where my former Grand Sheik was on, this is me. So I stand on the rock, the solid rock of foundation as laid by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if anybody challenges the Prophet Noble Drew Ali in any shape or form that I feel as though that could be influential on our people and lead them or give them gas in their car down the road to destruction, I'm going to say something. Like this is not the platform for you. I'm going to say something. If you my friend or my brother or my fair weather friend or sister or whatever, and you can't handle the heat, you might as well move aside now because I'm going to say something. And it doesn't matter who it is. If it's Cyrus Hill, if it's Seven, if it's Brother Sharif, if it's Grim, if it's anybody, if it's my mother. It may be influential on our people who are suffering already. I'm going to say something. And if you love me, you'll take it. I would never call you out your name. I would never threaten you. I may get hype and seem all this stuff, but I would never do things like that because we just read the chapter that said, and dare, nor dare descend to meanness. So I'm not getting on that level. But let me share this with you real quick. What we were talking about today was know thyself. And we went in a few ideals. And the highest ideal is that Allah, God Almighty, a part of him is in you. That's the highest ideal. We taught the Moorish Science Temple of America, and I find it to be factual. And ideal is his God. What does that mean? That means that if you see God today, let's hypothetically speaking, not speaking radical or condemning anything. If you see God today as a man called Jesus, man, ideal is his God. That's just an ideal. But we also taught the Moorish Science Temple of America, as man unfold, so does his God unfold. So in the same book, where you say that Jesus said, I and my Father are one, and you attributed that to being God. In the same book, he said, God is a spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. In the same book. Now, at that level, oh, God is a spirit. You might think he out there somewhere. But then when you find a Moorish American Muslim with the information that is universal, that applies to everybody, whether you call yourself a Moor or not, that the nearest place to meet Allah, God, is in the heart, that in the Holy Quran of Mecca, that Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. And then I'm going to share this from you, from the creation of the fall of man. I got it ready and locked and loaded. It say, every man is a thought of Allah. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potency of Allah. Just as the seed of any plant of earth holds deep with itself the attribute of every part of that special plant, so spirit man, as a seed of Allah, held deep within itself the attributes of every part of God. That's who you are. You hold in yourself every part of God. That's your ideal. Now you got something to work towards. So if you hold it within yourself every attribute of God, now you got to try to work towards to define what those attributes are, what those virtues are. And now you can work towards that. We are the message that we bring. Brothers on this panel is the message that they bring. If you thought this was truth, you just witnessed the truth. And 3 different physical frames. And with that, I say peace, family. I appreciate you, Sheik Seven. I appreciate you, Sheik Seven Islam.
Islam, Sheik. Peace and love, more. Appreciate you too.
I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I want y'all to pray for the Hopkins Bay family, that Allah may comfort them as they go through the transition of their loved one. I want y'all to pray for one another. I want y'all to pray for those who do not have the understanding that brings them peace.
Islam, and I'd like to still love, thought, peace through the ethers, and my prayers unto the throne of Allah for my brother, R. Hopkins Bay, Ronald Hopkins Bay. We know there's no death for man, so I extend my love, thought, my peace, and my prayers of protection and strength unto him as he continues to work out his life son elsewhere. And I extend my love, thought, and peace, and my prayers to the Hopkins Bay family. Islam.
You good, Sabzell?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace and love to the Moors, and condolences to the Hopkins Bay family. It's a powerful family.
Peace and love, family. See y'all soon.
Peace.
Peace.